What's up, everybody? This is Bag Grab episode 2, and we got Ciryl Gane versus Volkov this weekend, starting at noon. This episode's pretty early, so like I've mentioned in the last episode, make sure you check the weigh-ins because this is still the COVID era, even though we're getting out of it. So if fights drop off or whatever, or some update happens, you want to know my thoughts, just hit me up on the comments. I'm pretty responsive there. Last week was a pretty terrible card in regards to all these dogs barking and all these favorites basically fighting like shit. I lost all my money on FanDuel, so on top of FanDuel being shit, I'm broke on FanDuel, so I'm not going to be discussing that. I don't think I'm ever going to discuss FanDuel, so the fact that I brought it up on the second episode means I'm just teasing you, so just let it go. This is purely DraftKings and bets. So with DraftKings, I give you 2 9K fighters, 2 8K fighters, 2 7K fighters, and 1 6K fighter. And basically that's what I'm going to be doing going forward because the prize pools are bigger in DraftKings and they respect MMA a lot more in regards to the scoring and in regards to the payouts versus Super Draft and FanDuel give you slave wages if you happen to get first place, which is an absolute joke. So other than that, let's put the past behind us. This is Bag Grab episode 2. Let's go into these 9Ks and let's see my picks. And gamble responsibly. If you have a gambling issue, call the Gambling Anonymous number. I don't have it on the screen because I'm just giving the general PSA. These are just my picks and my bets. Tell them at your own risk. Other than that, let's make this cash. Going into 9K. For 9K, Julia Avila. Julia Avila is basically facing this girl. Her name's Legia, whatever. She's a Invicta product who pulls guard, has blonde hair, and trains at a gym. This is just a run-of-the-mill opponent, like a run-of-the-mill women's MMA opponent that Avila is facing. And Avila, the thing she does well, even though in her last fight her ground game looked like absolute crap, is she's real aggressive and she goes for the kill. And if you don't have any skill or any grit like a Shajara Eubanks or any sort of competency, or you're just, elected to take the back foot, Avila will just take advantage of you. I see this fight going similar to her fight when she fought Gina Manzani, just pressuring this woman, beating her up and beating her down. If Avila has a lobotomy or if Avila is like, hey, I've been working on my jiu-jitsu and I want to show it off, then there's a very good chance that she will lose this fight because the only win condition for this woman that Avila is fighting is armbar from bottom. Her bottom game seems pretty dangerous, but other than that, Avila just go in there, give this girl a concussion or two, get the job done. I like her. And the next 9K fighter that I like, I'm going to butcher this name, Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm just going to call him Rakhmonov for now on, 91-100. And basically he's fighting Michelle Praez or something. I'm butchering names today, so if you're not a fighter from the US or England, I'm gonna butcher the name. But yeah, this guy Praceres, I've seen him fight before. You know me, I discriminate against old fighters and I'm quite ageist in that way, and in this regard it's the same way. Rakhmonov looked good when he stepped in against Cowboy Oliveira, handled business. I've seen a little bit of tape on him, I've seen the hype around him and such, and Praceres, I think he's just coming in here just to get a check. So I think Rakhmonov goes in, handles business. He has the ground chops. He has the stand-up. He has a good overall game. And Prazeres is basically, this is like the PS5 versus the N64 in regards to computing power and processing power. You get the gist of your gamer. If you're not, just Google it, whatever. He should win this bout. And if he doesn't, then it'll be like last week, a nightmare. Now we're going into 8K fighters. My 1 8K fighter of the 2 that I like is Tim Dirty Bird Means. And I'm going to call him Dirty Bird from now on because I think that's a cool-ass nickname. But other than that, the opponent that Tim Means is facing is Nicholas Dalby. And basically, Nicholas Dalby robbed D-Rod with a gun. If you won't go back and watch that fight, like Nicholas Dalby was literally doing the minimum in regards to his leg kicks and like active cage push in order to look busy on the rounds. But whenever D-Rod wasn't sitting back and doing his grocery list and actually pressuring and like forcing Dalby to engage in him in the boxing range, Dalby just didn't have anything for him. Dalby, he fights hard and stuff, but I just think he's just a run-of-the-mill SBG product, which is the Straight Blast Gym where McGregor trains out of, and I don't even know why I call it Straight Blast Gym. It's a straight bums gym. There's nothing spectacular about Dalby's game. People backing Dalby this week. I get it, value, whatever the fuck you want to say, but I just don't see anything special about him. Tim Means has volume for days. Like, this guy, if you watch him fight, he can put his combinations together. His technique is sexy as fuck. And what I mean by that is, like, his punching technique is like it's if you know, like, the hands come out, everything looks smooth. He puts combinations together. Even when inside, people are worried about his defense and stuff because he's been hit here and there, but he's like starting to roll with punches, dunk under, and he can mix in takedowns as well. I feel like if Tim Means just comes forward and pressures Dalby and doesn't let Dalby stand on the outside and play his little pitter-pat game and, steal another fight from under the noses of the judges, Tim Means gets it done. But yeah, I really like Tim Means at 8,400, really good price, and I think he gets it done against Nicholas Dalby. And then the other 8,000 fighter, the second of the two, is Tanner Boser at 8,300. He's stepping in short notice to go against Ovis St. Preux, OSP. But it's not really short notice because I think he fought like a week or two ago against Latifi, and he lost that fight by split decision. But Tanner Boser is just a much faster product. He has better process, leg kicks. He's just quick. OSP just seems done to me, man. He looks like he's just doing MMA. He's not the same OSP from the past. And if you watch the Jamal Hill bout, or you watch the last fight he looked good, it was in the Menifil fight. But other than that, like, he's just kind of like there to be hit. And this fight is taking place at heavyweight, even though Tanner Boser isn't like some big, giant heavyweight or something. I'm trying to make a case for OSP, but I think he gets his ass whooped. I think Boser's activity, Boser's speed for the heavyweight division, and his heavyweight power is just going to be too much for OSP. And OSP is just going to be sitting back and hoping to find counters to Tanner Boser. But I think Tanner Boser is going to be too technical, too quick for him. And I think OSP is done. So moving right along, we're going to go into the 7K fighters. I have two 7K fighters to present to you. The first one is Justin James at 7,600. And I know what you're saying. This is the guy who's been stepping in during the COVID era, going against the killer strikers in Devontae Smith, Gabriel Benitez, and I'll just throw Gavin Tucker in there, even though that fight went 3 rounds. And he's just been getting mollywopped and whooped. I get it. Justin James, etc., is not good. But the guy he's fighting, Charles Rosa, is not aggressive at all. Charles Rosa is a Walmart Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in regards to his game and how he works and stuff. And I just feel like if Justin James comes out here, is aggressive with Charles Rosa, and implements some sort of wrestling game, because I know when I watched his regional tape, he implemented wrestling, he should be fine. Another caveat I like to add as well is Justin James has had a full camp for Charles Rosa. So it wasn't like he was stepping in short notice like he did against his past couple of bouts and such. And I remember I was scared to bet against or go against Charles Rosa when he went against Derek Minner. And if y'all know Derek Minner, he's a mess of a fighter too. But he went out there and he handled him. And I just think if you bite down the mouthpiece and you make this fight real ugly, Charles Rosa just folds, man. He doesn't break down or die or gets KO'd, but he just fucking doesn't offer much, man. And then the fact that he's just 8,600, like, fuck it, forget it, man. It's a mess. I like Justin James. I like him to get it done. And as long as he doesn't go out there and just try to blow his load in the first round and, cardio die rounds 2 and 3 and has a process, he gets the job done. One of my favorite dogs is due to the lack of aggressiveness from Charles Rosa. And the other 7K fighter as well is Ike Villanueva. I get it. These dogs are ugly. These names aren't sexy, but you got to look at their opponent. So he's facing Marcin Prachnio, who is 9K on the slate. And he recently won his bout against Khalil Roundtree. But Khalil Roundtree was literally like on sleeping pills or something in that bout because it was just really frustrating. And what I'm trying to get at with Marcin Prachnio is that he gets hurt in every one of his UFC fights, including the fight he had against Khalil Roundtree. And in each and every one of his fights, he won against Khalil Roundtree, and that was his first UFC win, and that's for Marcin Prachnio. But his previous 3 before that fight, he got finished. And he just gets wobbled and jiggled, and he's doing the stanky leg, and you name it. He's just, that chin and that durability is unreliable. And when I look at the technique of Marcin Prachnio, he has a nice back head kick, which he throws here and there, but everything else is sloppy, toppy. And if you look at Ike Villanueva, don't get me wrong, he has his issues as well, but he 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 has the durability edge, in my opinion, compared to a Marcin Prachnio. And on top of that as well, if he comes out like he did in the second round against Vinicius Moraes, even though Vinicius Moraes is the worst product to ever come out of the UFC, and just sits in the pocket, forces boxing range, forces Prachnio to open up, or Ike goes first, I think Ike could crack him. This play is simply two. So it's two reasons. Villanueva's capability to score with a KO within 15 minutes, and Prachnio's ability to not being able to take punishment, and him being over fucking priced at 9K doesn't make any sense. So I like Ike as well, and as you could tell with the 7Ks, I'm just going after these. I'm fading these opponents, man. I'm fading Charles Oliveira with Justin James, and in regards to Prachnio, it's the same way. One's for a lack of aggression, the other one's a lack of a chin. And then finally at 6K, no trolley Dana Whiteface like last week. I think I like Jay Herbert's process. I watched his fight against Francisco Trinaldo, and even though he got TKO in the third, he was looking good. He throws volume. He moves. Even when he gets taken down, he works to get back up and everything. And this is just more of where is Renato Moicano, especially after getting murdered by Rafael Viziz, if I'm saying his name correctly. And I just think that Moicano being this slam dunk 9.4K fighter, I'm not too quick to jump on that train. So this 6,800 play in Jay Herbert is simply just, let's see where Moicano's at, and I think Jay Herbert has enough skill to make things quite interesting in that regard. I'm not as confident in Jay Herbert as I am in Ike and Justin James, just due to me still having some credence and respect for Moicano's skill set. But for the most part, Jay Herbert, he's an interesting piece if you are tagging along with that narrative that I just dropped on you. And finally, we got my bets. And so, personally, I got a 6-leg parlay of Ike Villanueva at plus 170, Justin James at plus 135, Tim Means at minus 155, Tanner Bozer at minus 180, Ronoy Barcelos at minus 220, and Ronoy Barcelos at minus 220. I put that shit twice. Typo. I meant to actually have, at the end of that 6-leg parlay, Andre Philly at minus 240. So if you're listening to this, just replace that second Barcelos with what's his name, Andre Philly. I think with these underdogs, you don't even have to copy and paste this parlay. I think them as a single bet is perfectly fine as you parlay more dependable pieces on this card as well. Understand this is MMA, so there's no such thing as a lock as we saw last week in that bludgeoning. And other than that, this is Bag Grab episode 2. Make that money MMA. Spectate while your pockets accumulate and make that cash. We'll be back in 2 weeks for the Conor McGregor retirement. So I'll holler at y'all then. Peace.